Hi everybody, this is Sheila. Welcome back to the Crochet Nurse channel. Today what we're going to do is go over a few little tips for the Mary Maxim hat, mitts, and headband pattern that we received in the February 2021 Crochet Kit Club of the Month. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell. So for February 2021, we received this pattern, hat, mitts, and headband, and it is an intermediate pattern, and then 6 balls of yarn to complete the hat, mitts, and a headband. So let's talk a few minutes. So what we're going to start with is actually talking about the creation of the hat. And so in creating the hat, one of the first steps that it talks about doing is we're going to create a long piece. Okay, and so it doesn't make sense at first. If you're new to crochet, it won't make sense at first, but if you're an old pro, just pass this video on by. But anyway, we're going to create basically working in rows and create the headband. This is actually going to be the headband, and for me I actually ended up with 62 rows because it says to create this for 17.5 inches long. However, I put this around my head when it got to about 17 inches and measured, and I only needed 17 inches. And so that's the first thing, is making sure you're measuring. Just wrap it around your head and see the length to see if it's going to be right for you. So once you're done with your long rectangle, you're just going to fold it in half, and then we're going to turn it, and we need to stitch it together. Now here's where the next piece is. For the pattern, it says that once you get to the stage is to switch your yarn to the gray. Well, if you do that, you are going to have a gray line right down here in the middle, obviously, right? And so you're not going to want to do that. It also does not recommend clipping off the yarn, which I did because I wanted a cleaner finish. So keep the same color yarn, which is going to be the brown, and then you want to seam this closed. Is going to be your next phase. So to seam it closed, you're going to grab the bottom loop. Let me get there so you can see the top loop here, and then the front loop on the front here. And what I'm doing to seam it together, let me get past that yarn there, is I'm slip stitching it in. So I'll do that again. The top loop of the bottom, and then the front loop of the back here, and then slip stitch it together. And that'll give you a pretty clean finish when you get done. And when you get down to the end, I'm at it wrong, a bad angle, guys, but you can see how quick it's going to go. But when you get down to the end down there, then you're going to go ahead and fasten off the next stage, and you can see how that's going to go. And the next stage of this is actually joining in the gray yarn. And for that, it's saying to you in the pattern that you want 58 stitches plus 1, which is going to be 59, because you're going to do the joining 59 stitches around, and you want to space them out. Again, this is why it became important a minute ago of how long you made this thing. As I shared, mine's 17 inches, and I have 62 stitches around, but I need to actually space out my stitches, and so I have, after I join, I have a total of 59 around. And that'll become important later when we start doing reduction if you're new to crochet. If you're not new to crochet, doing the reductions is pretty straightforward. But you're going to want to shoot for what they're suggesting as far as join the gray yarn here, and then count an additional 58 until you get to here. And I would encourage you, it doesn't say so, but on the next round after that is going to be using, you're going to be working in the round. I would grab a stitch marker and make sure you know where your rounds are starting and finishing. The next tip is in relation to the pattern itself, but I had to get far enough along so you could see what I was talking about. So this is what it's looking like so far. And if you look from roughly here to here, and so this, with the pattern in the directions, it makes it very confusing and complicated, but here's the easy way to remember it. This is the bottom row here. Let me direct this. This is a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1. And then the next row on top of it is you're putting a single crochet in the chain 1 space, and then chaining, single crochet, chain 1. So that's the easy way to remember it, and that way you get that effect. Once you know that that's all that means is chain 1, single crochet, and then the next row you're going to be chaining into, or putting a single crochet in the chain, you're all set. It is the same pattern, and this is the headband, and you can see it is the same pattern there, and that is also the same pattern for the start of the mittens. FYI, on the mitten pattern on round 8 for the mittens, it's missing the word single crochet. Just FYI, it doesn't tell you what to do, but for the rest of the pattern it's single crochet, so it's going to be insert the word single crochet and you should be all set there. That is the only pattern tip I have for you in relation to the mittens, as I opted not to do them. You can see that in my Mary Maxim unboxing for March of 2021. So back to the hat for just a second. On this, you can see I did the reductions up here on the top. That starts in row around 19. It's pretty straightforward to do the reductions. It's telling you to skip a stitch and then you're going to single crochet 2 together to make the round. Where my tip would be on this part is when you do you're going to do 1 round of reduction and then do a couple more rounds of just straight crocheting, repeating rounds 3 and 4. I would suggest to you to pop it on your head and measure at that time as well. Okay, well, I hope you found these tips helpful. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments box below, and I will chat with you next time. Have a fantastic day, y'all.